Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about something you've probably seen a million times but never really thought twice about: the humble AM radio tower. They look so simple, but what's going on with these things is some seriously clever engineering hiding right in plain sight and, well, right under your feet.
All right, so this explainer is actually based on Chapter 13 of a pretty heavy-duty technical series called Modern Broadcast Transmission. We're going to zero in specifically on AM antenna technology and really unpack the science behind these deceptively simple structures.
So, let's just start with the obvious question, right? You see all these crazy complex towers for cell service, or these intricate setups for FM radio, and then you see an AM tower. And it's just a pole. Why is it so basic? So lonely looking out there in a field. Okay, the whole answer boils down to physics. And, one word, wavelength. AM radio waves are, well, they're huge. We're talking incredibly long. To put it in perspective, for a pretty standard station at 1,000 kilohertz, a single wave, just one cycle, is almost 1,000 feet long. That's massive. So you can see the problem, right? This enormous wavelength presents a massive engineering challenge. I mean, how on earth do you build an antenna that can efficiently push out a signal that's literally 1,000 feet long? It's not like you can just build 1,000-foot towers everywhere. That single problem, it dictates everything about how these systems are designed. And the solution they came up with is just, it's so elegant. Engineers figured out they could use a tower that's exactly 1/4 of the signal's wavelength. But here's the kicker, the real secret sauce. That tower you're looking at, it's only half of the antenna. Yup, by itself, it's pretty much useless. Okay, so if the tower is only one half, where's the rest of it? Well, you're standing on it. The other half is the ground itself. The engineers literally turn the earth into the other part of the antenna, and honestly, it's arguably the most critical component of the entire setup. The best way to think about this is as a two-part system. The tower, the part you can see, is the radiator. It's what's actually pushing the radio wave out. But that invisible ground system, it acts like a giant electrical mirror. It takes the signal from the tower and reflects it, creating this perfect virtual image of the tower, which is what makes the whole thing work so well. And when I say ground system, I'm not just talking about a stake in the dirt. The scale of this unseen part is just, it's mind-boggling. We're talking about a massive web of copper wires, sometimes 120 individual wires, each one stretching out for hundreds of feet from the base of the tower. They bury it all just a few inches underground, creating this huge, superconductive mat. And this really drives home just how critical this is. It's not a nice to have. If that ground system is poorly designed, or if it starts to break down over time, you can lose half, 50% of your power. It just gets wasted, literally turning into heat in the soil instead of becoming a radio signal. All that energy just gone. Okay, so we've got our super clever two-part antenna. Problem solved, right? Well, not quite. There's another huge challenge. It's not enough to just blast out a powerful signal. With AM, you have to be really, really careful about where that signal goes, and maybe even more importantly, where it doesn't go. And here's why that's such a big deal. At night, something really cool happens. AM signals can actually bounce off a layer of the atmosphere called the ionosphere and travel for hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles. They call it skywave. It's awesome if you want to listen to a station from far away, but it's a nightmare for interference. You could have a station in Chicago totally stomping at a station in New Orleans that's on the same frequency. So how do you solve that? With another piece of brilliant engineering, the directional array. Instead of one tower, you use several. And by playing with the timing of the signal going to each tower, the phasing, engineers can literally sculpt the radio wave. It's amazing. They create these strong signals, or lobes, pointing right at the cities they want to cover, and then create nulls, basically dead zones, in the direction of other stations they need to protect. And this isn't just engineers showing off. It's actually a requirement. The FCC makes a lot of these stations either power down or switch over to one of these directional patterns as soon as the sun sets. It's all to prevent that skywave mess and keep the AM band from turning into total chaos. Now, you might think once you build this incredible system of towers and underground wires, you're done. But nope, it's a constant battle against Mother Nature. Keeping this whole thing working right requires nonstop maintenance. And that battle is really fought on two fronts.
First, underground. You've got all that copper wire just sitting in the dirt, constantly trying to corrode away. Then, above ground, you have this huge insulator at the base of the tower that has to be kept spotlessly clean. Seriously, even a little bit of dirt or moisture can create a path for that powerful signal to leak to the ground, and that can throw the whole system out of whack.
So let's just circle back and really let these numbers sink in, because the scale is wild. That invisible ground system, a professional, by-the-book installation, has more than 120 of those copper wires feigning out from the tower. And the tower's height? It's not just a random number. Engineers don't even really think about it in feet. They think about it in electrical degrees. That perfect 90-degree height, which is that quarter wavelength we talked about, that's the magic number. It's the sweet spot for getting the best possible performance.
So, what's the payoff for all this incredibly detailed engineering? Well, when you get it all right, when the tower and that huge ground system are working together perfectly, you can get up to 80% efficiency. That means 80% of the electricity you're pumping in is actually turning into a radio signal for people to listen to, which is pretty darn good.
So I guess the main thing to remember is this. That simple-looking pole you see out in a field is anything but simple. It's just the visible tip of the iceberg. It's one half of this huge, incredibly clever system that literally uses the ground we walk on as a critical piece of the antenna. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? You know, in our world of 5G, satellites, and fiber optic everything, what is it about this century-old technology that gives it such staying power? What's the enduring magic of a well-engineered signal sent from a simple tower that lets it cut through all the noise?